Hey, good morning and welcome back once again to the JTC Learning Network. This is Photography Weekly, episode number 85 for Sunday, April 21st, 2013. So what's in store for us today? What's coming up on this show? Today we're going to start by talking about focus. There's so much to know about focus, and I think that the focusing itself, not a lot of people understand. So we're going to talk about that and look at some examples this morning. Then we'll take you into Photoshop Elements 11, and we're going to talk about building a collage. And again, this is a result of a project I'm working on anyway, so I wanted to share it with everybody out there. So with that said, let's go ahead and get started here with episode number 85. All right, very good. Let's first start off here this morning, as always, by saying good morning and welcome to another Sunday morning show here with me. Thanks for joining in and coming to listen to the podcast on Spreaker, the radio show, or the vidcast, the video show here on Justin TV. And I want to start this morning, as always, with our shout-outs, and let's go ahead and get through the shout-outs right now. First, good morning to Brian, Cheryl, Debbie, Dina, Flyer here, Peter in the UK, Vicky, and Wino. Wino, there's a new one. Well, good morning to everybody, and if you're not in the chat room, please go to jackstechcorner.com, click on the live show link at the top, and then there's a little pop-out chat window. That is where we're chatting. We don't ordinarily chat on Justin TV just because we ordinarily do not do that. Let me get these off of my head. I only really need those for the opener just so I can hear the intro being played there. So once that's out of the way, then I don't need the headphones on anymore. I can just listen to myself talk. It's a little easier to do that. So, folks, hopefully you're having a great weekend this weekend. And I know it's been a busy weekend for us because we had a track meet to go to yesterday. It was a tri-regional, no, not even that. I guess it was about a dozen schools, so whatever you call that, dozen regional. But there was a lot of school districts there, and it was a coaches meet. So I don't know if your kids have ever been into track or track and field, but the coaches meet is a bunch of different schools get together, and the track meet started about, I think it started like at 9 o'clock in the morning, and the kids were there until about 5 o'clock in the evening. So it was a full day for them, and we got to go and watch some events in the morning and take some pictures. And I got to do a little bit of stuff playing around with the camera and doing some type of photography that I don't ordinarily do. And I think that's the key element. When you pick up that camera, and I do happen to have one here, right? When you pick up your camera and you go out there and you start shooting and taking pictures, do something you don't ordinarily do. Because that's going to make you a better photographer or get you more familiar, at least with your camera anyway, and get you more in touch with the camera. So if you're a portrait photographer, get out there and shoot some landscapes. If you're a landscape photographer, put somebody in front of your lens and take some portraits. Reverse that. And what we're going to talk about today is focus. So if nothing else, learn the different focus settings on the camera that we're going to go over today. And you're going to get so much more use out of your camera. What I'm doing now, just checking the chat room here to see if there's anything going on with questions or anything. Looks like no. Looks like we're all in here and just kind of hanging out and waiting for some information, right? Some learning about our cameras. So we're going to start that this morning and talk about this a little bit. So now I don't know if you're using a 35 millimeter DSLR, if you're using a point and shoot camera. If you're using a point and shoot camera, you may not have as many focus options as what we have with the DSLRs. That was pretty good. My chat window on my iPad just crashed, I think. Something happened to it. Just closed for some reason. There we go. Maybe it's going to reconnect again. So I don't know what happened to that there. So anyway, what we're going to talk about then this morning is the different focus. Because, you know, you have so many options with this. And I'm going to show you some examples about what I've been playing around with. And what I played with yesterday was pretty exciting. And I once I got the pictures on the computer, I found that I have a lot to learn. So it's going to take me a while to learn that stuff. Okay, the first thing we're going to talk about our camera here, and if you shoot Nikon or Canon, it doesn't matter. You're all going to have the same basic stuff on your camera. The first thing I wanted to tell you about or warn you about with these lenses nowadays or with your camera, on a Nikon, the switch is on the side. If you can see it, it's the AF or the M switch. Now the M, if you switch it to M, that means manual focus. That means you take the control of the ring. Take my cap off here. You take the control of the focus ring and you focus your camera by hand. Now, if you're a photographer and you're that kind of photographer that thinks I need the most creative side I can be and I'm going to focus myself, and I do sometimes with portraits. If somebody's sitting perfectly still, I may use manual focus and you know, take my attempt at it. Because again, remember that you're learning how to use the camera and you want to know how to use all the features. They put that M on there for a reason, not for mistake. They put it on there because it's manual focus and you want to know how to use manual focus. The other part of the camera, and your lens may or may not have this, the lens on the side, also if you can see that, has a AF and an M. The one on the camera is in case the lens isn't equipped with it. If the lens is, just leave this on autofocus and set your lens on manual focus. Then you can, again, adjust the lens to focus your camera. So that's manual focus. I can tell you, and this has bit me in the butt a couple times. I was trying to get my camera to focus and the motor wasn't turning. I'm like, come on, where's the motor? Where's the motor? Where's the motor? And sure enough, what turned out to happen was one of these two switches were in the manual mode, and I didn't know. Because sometimes with it on your lens, when you're pulling your camera out of your bag, this can switch. So be very careful about how tight your bag is on your lenses, but that can actually switch. That is the nice thing of having your lens hood and putting it on backwards. If you have a lens hood with your lens, you pull on backwards because it's going to keep it, you know, higher up than that switch itself when you're pulling it out of the bag. So that's a good thing to remember. Anyway, it's good to have your lens hood on there. Besides, one time we went shooting with the wide angle lens and I came home with a bunch of sunspots. Why? My lens hood, smart guy that I am, left it in my bag in the car. I didn't have it with me on the camera, so it didn't help me at all. The next thing we're going to talk about here then is our different focus modes. We're going to start with the very easiest mode. Let me just switch it here to that mode. And that is the automatic mode. Automatic mode is just that. It's automatic. And what happens, and what I don't really like about the automatic mode, is that if you have it in full auto mode, it picks the point of focus. Now this camera now that I have here, the D600, has 39 focal points. Your camera may have more. I've seen cameras with up to 60 some focal points. In the end, I'm going to teach you here, by the end of this little segment, you're only going to want to have one. That's the most used. And probably the best way I would say to focus. And you may have some thoughts on that, and you may actually want to put those thoughts in the chat room. Let me know before I get too far if you use a different focus mode. So anyway, on full automatic mode, the camera is going to focus on its own. You can hear that. It'll give it a little beep. The lens motor will turn on its own self, and it will focus on something. So that's how it does it on automatic mode. Now on Nikons, as sure as it is on Canons, if I hold the button down on the side here, I can actually change this automatic mode to make it single mode or continuous mode. So auto mode has three settings. Auto, which is full auto, takes its pick. Single auto, which means there's a single point in your camera, we're going to talk about that in a few minutes here, that you can actually focus on a subject or on something that you're looking at. Or continuous mode, and what continuous mode is, it's automatic, and it's going to lock on the subject that you have it locked on, and wherever that subject is moving, it's continuously going to auto focus that person or subject. So that is auto focus. That's the full auto focus. All right, we're going to go back now, and now your camera also has back here. What's called single mode. Okay? Now, in single mode, you can either set it to full auto, so it's going to pick out a single point of the camera. It's going to pick out whatever focal point that it wants to pick out. So when you're focusing, be very careful. I've done this before at the zoo. We've been to the zoo before, and I'll take a picture of a beautiful lion and think, well, I got a great shot. And, you know, we don't always check the back of it. You know, there was a word somebody used for that. I think it was called chumming or chumping, when you look at the back after every picture. And I don't tend to do that, right? I tend to take my shots and I move on. Well, sometimes it does bite you in the backside. I took a picture and I got home and I found out that the lion was kind of out of focus, but the tree to the right of him was perfect in focus, and he was kind of set in the back because the depth of field changed because I focused on something else. So that is the problem with that auto focus mode being on your single focus. So what I would like to do with it is turn it off of there and change it to S single mode. Now when you look through here, you set the focal point, whatever you want to focus on. And we do that on the back of your camera, and I know Canons have these because I used to shoot a Canon at one time. On the back of this camera right here, there's a wheel, okay, on your Nikon or on your Canon. And when you look through there and get the focus point, you can move that wheel, push it left, push it right, push it up, and push it down. And as you're looking through here, you'll see the focus point changing up and down and left and right. That way, if we're taking a picture of a portrait, you don't have to all the time do that like this and recompose, right? We can actually move that focus point up and lock it right on the eye of our subject and have that focus on the eye. We don't have to recompose all the time. Recompose. So that is a nice way that you don't have to recompose. What else is nice about that is when you're taking pictures of anything, you know what the camera is focusing on. So if you want the picture to be the rule of thirds and we want to focus to the left or to the right of the subject, we can do that. It's very easy to do. And again, that is the single focus mode. All right. And Dina did say that, and it's called chimping. When you look at the back of the screen all the time, take a picture, look, take a picture, look. I call it amateur hour, because what happens is if you're doing a photo shoot and you're getting paid and you're not sure of your work, so you take a picture and you look down at that screen every time, that's amateur hour. Don't do that, you know. When we were shooting 35mm film years ago, we didn't have that option. So I'm kind of old school. It's like, I don't care. I mean, the screen's there and it's nice just to make sure maybe your exposure's right. But if nothing else, leave it set on the histogram and you'll see the exposure, right? So that's my feelings on it anyway. It's up to you guys. I don't know how you shoot. And I don't mean to tell you how to actually change your shooting style. I'm just telling you, if you're getting paid, don't look at the screen every time. Okay. Now the next mode we're going to talk about is, let me change this here, is continuous mode. Now in continuous mode, what happens is, as I said, so we're in continuous, and you can be on continuous auto, but I would recommend being on continuous either single or D9 on this. On a Nikon, that's giving me 9 points of focus, 21 points of focus, or I can have all 39 on. So I like to set mine on actually single mode. So continuous focus, single, because what I want to do with my camera is be able to focus on somebody, and I'm going to show you some examples here we took yesterday. But I want to focus on something, and as that person or subject is moving, it could be an animal, right, or a race car. You could be like holding the shutter down and just clicking away. Let's see if we can do that here, like this. Right, we can just be clicking away as we're following along there. What's going to happen is that focus is just going to keep focusing right along there, okay? Now, the couple pictures I'm going to show you here, and I'll tell you what settings I had the camera on as far as manual, and I also shot some shutter priority mode yesterday, and you might have seen my post on the Facebook group. I was actually learning a new technique of photography that I've taught it years ago, but I have never really been out to actually do it somewhere. So yesterday I picked a great day. It was windy and cold, but we were at a track meet. And I thought this is the perfect time to do this type of shooting. So that's where I actually settled down and started doing some of that. And we're going to be looking at the examples here in just a few minutes. Let me just set my camera back now. And I always like to, once you use this focus mode, always set your camera back to AF mode single and single point of focus. That way, you always know the camera's ready to go. And you don't have to worry about that. All right, set this back on single shot on the back here. Make sure my camera's back to the way it should be. So, nice shots on Flickr. And thank you, Andy. I appreciate that. We're going to be looking at some of those shots now, actually. So thank you. Well, not those. I got some stuff from yesterday, and those shots are from about a week ago. But thank you very much for that. We're going to be talking now. We're going to go ahead and look at these shots on the computer screen. We're going to talk about these. Is there any questions about focus? Anything you have out there that you've been wanting to or kind of curious about, and you're not quite sure of the focus points or how they work? Throw in the chat room there. I'll definitely answer the questions. And good morning to Mike JP. I see you checked in there this morning. And Andy Taylor. I don't know if you were there this morning when we did our official roll call. All right. Well, seeing nothing in there, let me look through the chat room here, see if there's anybody else new here this morning. Flyer here. I don't know if I caught you this morning. Maurice 72, good morning to you. I don't think I caught you this morning either. All right, good. So with no questions, that's great. I guess it's time to move on and take a look at these pictures, and we're going to talk about this stuff a little bit. So let me move this over here and get this set up here a little bit. All right, let's go here. Let me just we'll try this and see if this will work. Yeah, it's pretty close. Let me select this area down a little bit. We're going to look at these. All right. Okay, so that should give you a pretty good view of the screen here of these pictures. We're going to go through some of these, and I just wanted to point some stuff out here, okay? When I'm shooting sports, and I've been shooting a lot of sports lately with basketball and anything else I can put my camera in front of, or I should say put the athlete in front of the camera, I've been going out shooting sports. And I find sports to be very rewarding because it's very fast-paced. There's, obviously there's always something happening in the sports that you're going to capture with your camera. It's not like doing a portrait where you have to set up lighting and all that. You use available light, whatever's out there, and you look for your best angle. All right. I'm sure we can talk about that another morning. Obviously, with sports, I can't set up reflectors and stuff like that. Although there's ways to set up flash when you're doing different events like cross-country running. You can use some flash photography if you can station yourself out somewhere where the athletes are coming through. And we'll talk about that. Maybe I'll do a video on that one day with our cross-country team. Anyway, we're going to look here, and these pictures, if you look at this one here with this javelin going up in the air, this is set on continuous focus, single point continuous focus. And this is what I'm talking about. And the reason that is I focused on the athlete, all right, not the javelin. If you'd focus on the javelin, you'd have to track the javelin. So you'll see here, we're going to try to blow this up a little bit. The javelin is actually just a little bit out of focus, all right? But the athlete, if you can see, we'll try to take this down a little bit here. The athlete is in focus the whole way through this run. And here's part of the run. Well, it's another athlete right here. So here she's in focus, and here she's in focus because it's a continuous focus. If you have this on single focus mode and you pick that point the camera will not continuously focus as you're moving it. That's something to remember. You want to be able to click that shutter and just keep following the person and have that camera just refocus for you each time. Here's another example of continuous focus. You can see where this girl is actually up off the ground when the camera captured her event and throwing the javelin. So that's exactly how that worked out. Again, I tracked her the whole way through. Here's another one. If you look here, the girl's in focus. All right. If you look here, the girl's still in focus, but her javelin is a little bit out of focus. So the javelin is a little bit out of focus because we're focused on her, and this thing is moving more towards us. So that's what's happening there. Same with this one. She's in focus. She's still in focus. And she's still focused. So here's what I'm basically saying is automatic is nice for if we're out somewhere as a family. We did this once actually. We were at the Statue of Liberty, and I seen this person walking by. I didn't know this person. I didn't know if they know how to use a camera or not. So what I do is I switch my camera on automatic, and I make sure the focus is on automatic and the white balance is on automatic. And then I'll hand somebody my camera because they don't have to think of the shot. They just have to compose it and hit the shutter button, right? Makes it very, very nice and makes it easy to do. Now, with that said, if you're doing portraits work, or if you're doing something very non-moving, non-linear, then something pretty much static, then you can use that single mode of your focus and get a very, very nice shot. Or landscapes. Landscapes, you can use automatic on a landscape if you wish, but you just don't know where it's going to focus at, so that's still a catch-22 there. If you're doing sporting events or anything moving, if you're doing fish swimming up a stream, and you want that camera to continuous focus, then use the C mode or continuous focus. All right, now that we've seen these, we're going to move along here. You got the general idea there. Let me move along here and find some of these other folks I want to show you. And it's these ones. There's a little bit better one there. Now this is an act. If you looked, I said, at my Facebook wall yesterday, you'll see that I was learning and I was shooting and I was doing some panning techniques. Now a panning technique is where you keep the camera and you hold the camera on the subject and you follow the subject as you're holding your shutter button down. So we're doing a high speed continuous shooting mode. And what you got to do here, though, is shoot in shutter priority mode. And you have to shoot in shutter priority mode because you're going to set the shutter slow. And I'm talking, this was too slow, actually. Like I said, I'm going to back out probably Tuesday to do more of this work. This is too slow because everything's too blurry. And then this was set at 30. So my shutter speed was set at 30. But I think what I'm going to do is take it up to maybe 60 and see where I come out at. To make it a little bit better because he is even actually getting a little bit blurry. So, but what happens is you just follow him. You start from, 3 steps behind where he is here, and you just hold that shutter button down, just click, 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 and it actually captures him as being, wherever he's at, but it gets that blur of that background is what you're trying to do, and that's called a panning technique. Here's this one again. Again, he's not as sharp in his focus as what I want. But in doing this a little bit more, I did find that you want to fill the frame with the person. You can see here his legs. So if you're shooting this, and actually I think my camera was shooting at f/22 when I was doing this, but his legs are blurred out because you just want the top half because you're trying to blur everything else around him. So you want to fill the frame with the person. Once I caught that concept, I started getting a little bit better feel for it, and you can see some of these shots. This one here being about the best that I did for the day. You can see where the girl's very much static there. She's not, she's obviously running, but you make them look like they're running, 10 times faster than what they actually were. So that's how you do that. It's called a panning technique. So if you ever get a chance to do that, a track field, a football game, anytime you have even a bicyclist riding in front of you, anytime you have those type of events coming up, go down, take your camera, and I shot this on a monopod, and I did shoot it with a 70 by 200 millimeter lens. I'll tell you, have a nice big lens because you want to zoom in on your subject. You can't obviously get real close to a bike rider or motorcycle, motocross, but so many possibilities for these. And these pictures rock with your clients because they're going to be like, whoa, how'd you do that? That is really amazing. You're going to make a buck or two if you're at an event. So there you go. Just wanted to throw that out there to you and show you a little bit about how that is actually done. And does anybody have any questions on that? I'm watching the chat room here to see if anybody has any questions. I'm going to show you here real quick. I'm going to bring my other camera back up. I'm going to show you here with my camera just what I mean by being able to do this shooting, because some people don't really understand how this works. But so I put my camera in shutter priority mode. I just set it to shutter priority mode. And then what happens is you don't have to worry about your f-stop and all that. And you don't have to worry about your exposure settings and everything like that. You took my shutter speed down. I dropped my shutter speed down to 30. But like I said, I'm going to try 50 and 60 this next time. Put your camera on high speed, continuous shooting. Whatever the high speed is. I don't know how many frames you get per second. Doesn't really matter. Because you're only looking for one picture. That's one picture. I didn't stitch those together or anything. You're going to hold your camera up. You're going to focus on your subject. And also remember, you're going to be in continuous focus mode. Focus, and you're just going to click. Just go right around. And as you're going around, that subject's moving. When they get right in front of you, it's when you're going to have that blurred background. Because that shutter is slow, and you're moving the camera, but you're taking an individual blast, right? So you do get that blast, and the shutter's slow, the background's going to be moving. Well, the person's moving, so the background will blur. That's what happens, because you're focused on the subject, on the person itself. So that's how that works. And it works very, very well. Like I said, I just blurred the background too much. But that's what I started this whole show with this morning, folks. And that's what I was telling you. Get out of your realm. Do something different. Take that camera out there. If you normally take pictures of birds and animals, take pictures of some landscapes, of some lakes and some mountains, and get out of your realm, because this camera will capture so much in your lifetime that you're not going to believe it. And get those pictures out there so we can see them. I'd love to take a look at those. All right. Excuse me. I get to edit that out, I guess. What we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and take our short little break here and be right back with you with the second part of this little video here that we're working on this morning. And it's going to be basically building a project around a collage with those pictures from yesterday, and we're going to have a look at that. So I shall be right back. Fill your beer mugs, your glasses, your coffee cups, and I'll see you in a minute. Yeah, more learning is always where we want to be, right? I guess that's why we're here, right? To learn something new. If you're in the chat room, I did put in there, where's all the chatters at this morning? Nobody's actually chatting around there this morning or talking much. That's interesting to see. No questions either. That's really something to see. There's usually a lot of questions during these segments because people, you guys just want to know, and that's okay. All right. So what we're going to do now is we're going to build just a small project here. I thought, let me get back to my pictures here. There we go. And turn this down a little bit. So we're going to build some pictures here from some of these people at this track meet yesterday. And I see Mike was actually throwing something in there. And good morning to you once again, Mike. And I did say that the blemishes out. I also seen that Adobe CS7 may be allowing you to take the camera shake out of the blurriness. It's going to remap the picture itself and make it clean again. So that's interesting, Mike. Thank you very much. All right. So we're going to talk about now is we're going to go back to the computer screen here. And let's see, take that out of there, put this in here, and get a good capture here. And we'll go all the way up right there, and we'll go over here. All right. So what I'm going to show you now is I just happen to be, and Brian says use a tripod. Use a tripod for, well, yesterday actually, Brian, on these shots I used a monopod. I just find it's easier to carry that around. I can sling my strap on my shoulder, and I'm good to go. I could just move out there. So what we're going to do now is we're going to create a basic collage with these pictures that we picked out of here. So what we're going to do first of all is you have to know how big is the picture that you're going to frame. I always like to make mine 11 by 14 to give me enough room in the frame, and I figure if I want to I can always mat it down later. So the first thing we're going to do is go to New Blank File, and we're going to call this Layout. Just like so. We'll call this Layout. And then what we're going to do is we're going to change this from pixels to inches. And the width is 11. I'm sorry, the width is 14 because it's 11 by 14. And we'll change this to 14. 11. Oh my. 14 is the width because we're going to make it more landscape. And then the height will be 11. So when you frame this thing, it's going to be in the landscape mode. The background, you can either leave it white or transparent. I tend to make it transparent so I can do more with my background. I don't want just a white background. And then set OK. So here is our background that we're going to start off with to make our collage. And, okay, Brian, very good. Oh, okay, Brian. He's looking at it with IE9. You know why mine is not there? Because I got an ad blocker. So why? If you have an ad blocker, that's why you're not seeing them. Try Internet Explorer. That's why. Thank you very much, Brian. I appreciate that. All right. That's why I don't have it, because I have an ad blocker and it's blocking those ads. I got you. Man, good catch, Brian. Thank you. Okay, and the reason I like to do this is because I can go in here and create a new layer, new blank layer, and anytime I want to, I can fill this layer. Let's say I want to fill it with a color. So I can make a nice background then and make it any color I want. We're going to go in here, fill layer. And we're just going to fill it with foreground color and fill it. So now I have that as a background. I can pull this up here and we can start building our collage because now we have a nice background color. And you can change this. But if you make that background white, it just makes it really hard to change it to anything else. So the first thing we're going to do is grab that first picture we want to use. I'm just going to go to Select All, or you could do a Command or Control A, Select All. Now, listen to the keyboard commands, folks, because these are going to help you when you're building this stuff. Command or Control C, hold your Control or Command key down, click on C on your keyboard. That copies that whole picture. Go back to your layout and do Command or Control V. That will paste it. Now, once you paste it, you're going to want to resize this or scale it. Go here, under Image, Resize, and Scale. And just start pulling from the top corner down to the middle. And the reason we want to do that is because we make sure the perspective of the picture doesn't change. Right? We don't want to make the person fat or skinny or round or whatever. Again, we're just going to bring this down just as easy as we can. And all we're doing is resizing it to fit in our picture here, however we want to resize it. Just like so. You can see now it's starting to fit within our framed area. Okay, so once you get this set up, you can move this around. And then we can do things like we can go up here, we can actually spin this picture. Well, first we're going to click OK on it. What you got to do now is we got to have it it's transformed. So with that layer still selected, go up to Image and Transform and say Free Transform. This is when you can actually move this left and right and up and down. Something like that. Click OK. Now if you do a Command or Control D, you would deselect that picture. Okay. Now we can go ahead to the next one. Let's go to the next picture here and do the same thing. Command or Control A to select everything. Command or Control C to copy. Go back to our layer that we're building on. Command or Control V. And again, Control V, and we're just going to paste that back in there, the second picture. Again, we're just resizing by pulling from the top corner down. Just like so. And again, this will allow you to make these whatever size you want these to be. Now, as you can see here, it looks like we did shrink her down a little bit. Resize that. You're going to pull that wherever you want it to be. Again, here we can spin it a little bit if we wish, and we'll just click OK. So at that point, when you're building your project, you're building your collage up, you're basically putting these pictures however you want these to be on here. Now, what I do like to do with these, we're going to turn the background layer, we're going to visibility back on just to see the red there again. What I do like about these is when you click on this, if you go into Effects, we're going to bevel this up a little bit. You can see there the bevel it just put on it right here. Let me just show you this a little bit closer here, what we're doing. All right. Just bring us in a little bit here. We're going to look at this picture more close. Just get this going here. All right. So what we did here was we actually beveled the picture up, okay, just by adding a layer style. I'm going to click on the FX on the layer itself, on the layer style, and we're going to work it a little bit. So we're going to give it a little bit more of a bevel, not that much, a little bit too much. We'll give it a drop shadow, and that helps because it'll bring it off that red backing just a little bit. So as you can see, there's a drop shadow being placed on there. It almost then looks like it's more embroidered into the actual paper itself. We can even add an inner glow to help pick it up off of there, or an outer glow on the corner edges. I tend to like the outer glow better, and we are going to make this more white. Like that. Then we'll give it a little bit of a size here. Again, it just gives it that more, it gives it more of that look that's coming off the page, and I just think it looks more pleasing to do that. All right. Once we have that done, what we're going to do now is, let me bring us back up. We're going to reselect this again. I'm going to show you here very easily. Matter of fact, we're going to leave it on here so we can see it even better. All right, like this. What you'll do now on this layer style right here is you're going to hold your key down and drop it down. Oh, hold on, that's not the right one. You're going to hold your Alt or your Option key down, and as you're holding it down, drag it to your other picture. Because if you've seen what it did was, it actually put that same style around the other picture. That way we don't have to individually build these things. It's very easy to get these built up, and a very easy way to manipulate these pictures to make them look however you want them to look. So I think you got the general idea, though, how you would make a collage. It's going to come out very nice. Once you're done, you're going to save it as a JPEG. So let me show you here, because a lot of people, I get a lot of emails. You'd be surprised on, Jack, what do I do once it's done? Or, Jack, I sent it to the developer, and they said they can't print a PSD file. Well, they can't. So what's going to happen is you want to click on File, Save As. If you see here, first of all, it comes up as a PSD file. All right. Let me bring this down here. So it would come up as a PSD file, and that's a Photoshop file. We talked about that before. But what you want to do is change it format here and change it to JPEG, because we know that mostly all developers out there can develop a JPEG picture. And then we'll just call it layout 1, 2, whatever. All right. And then know where you're going to save this at. I'm going to save it under pictures. When I import my pictures, I usually do pictures. Here is the track meet that we were at yesterday. Go down. I make a folder called edited. Then anything I edit, I put in there. So save it. And then it's going to ask you, well, look, this is a maximum quality of 10. How big do you want this file? Always make it the largest size. And even at that, it's not too bad. 602.4K. That's not bad. And click OK. What's going to happen is it's going to flatten that file out and make it into a JPEG picture that then you can upload to SmugMug or any other developing site out there and actually have those ready to go. Since I'm in here, I want to tell you one more thing. Since I did receive an email earlier from someone here talking about Flickr, I want to show you real quick here. I don't know if you're a member of Flickr or not, but Flickr is a great place to store your pictures and share them out with people. You can do so much with it. And so if you buy the Pro version, I think I paid $26 a year, and I can upload as much as I want. So why am I telling you about this? Am I trying to sell this to you also? No, I'm not. I'm telling you about this because I want you to, if you're not a member of Flickr, please become a member of Flickr. You can see Andy Taylor here. He's in the chat room. He's a member of Flickr. And once you're in here, follow me on Flickr, because I tend to put a lot of new stuff up here. I just found out this morning I could share a whole set or a whole album on Facebook. So that's really cool. You don't have to upload all your pictures to Facebook and all your pictures somewhere else. So that works very, very well. As you can see here, I got a bunch of photo sets in here. Just like so. Trying to see here. The account name that you're looking for, if you're searching for me on Flickr, it's JOKORN_41. So if you look for that on Flickr, you'll find that and you'll be able to follow me there. So once again, like I said, I do have the Pro account. The Pro account is not that much. It's $25 a year. And like I said, you can use it for the free account. You can use it for free. They do have a free account membership. You get 300 megabytes every month of uploads, 200 most recent photos, 10 groups. You can upload 2 videos a month. But once you pay for the Pro version, you can upload unlimited, and it's a great place to use as a backup service for your pictures. I've been putting stuff on here for years, and it's never failed me. It's always there. So you can click on the photo stream. You can see all those pictures we talked about. This is another track meet. You can have fun and look at those. So follow me, and then I'll follow you back there. The shutter speed flyer here, the shutter speed I was using for panning, just getting back to the chat window here. Let me bring this camera back up here and switch back around here. All right. Okay, folks. So a couple good questions that are coming in the chat room right now. The shutter speed I was using for panning was about 30. 1/30th of a second, which is very, very slow shutter speed. So make sure your camera is in shutter priority mode. And see if anybody's in the UK on Brit Internet Service. Thanks, Andy. Then the Flickr Pro account is free. So, and I know Peter in the UK is in the UK, obviously. So you can actually pick up the Flickr account for nothing if you're on that internet service. Very good stuff. Yeah, I will. I'm going to let you know. And if you're following me on Flickr, I'll probably post the pictures there. And I also found out that on SmugMug, if you're a member of SmugMug, you can also post your albums there, and you can show and you can actually share those on Facebook. And the reason I Facebook and Google Plus, the reason I say share them there, because if you're looking for clients and you're building your albums out and you're posting your stuff online, share the whole album out, especially if you know folks that are friends with other folks that are friends with other folks, like when you take event pictures, because you may actually pick up a couple dollars for that effort. So, but I will let you know how 60 does. My next shooting is going to be like, I'm going to do 50 and 60 on Tuesday, as long as it doesn't rain here. So that should be pretty nice. Well, folks, I'm glad everybody made it in this morning, and it's been a wonderful morning working with you here once again on Photography Weekly, and I do appreciate you coming each and every Sunday morning. This morning, though, I think I am going to throw my camera maybe in the car, just take it with us. We are planning on doing some trout fishing this morning, so we'll see how that goes. Usually I just take pictures with my iPhone, as well as my daughter takes pictures with her iPhone, but we'll see how that turns out, if I take the camera or not. Because there's always a photo opportunity time when you're out somewhere, especially maybe get some group shots with the two of us on a tripod. That would be kind of cool. So, all right, Mike, thank you very much. So thanks to everybody out there for watching this week in Photography Weekly, and I'll see you back here next Sunday. Hopefully, if we can catch you, and I'm still working on that Wednesday night thing. Last Wednesday was a bit of a pressure time for me, and I didn't get anything together for Wednesday, but hopefully we'll catch you Wednesday night and be able to talk to you a little bit about technology on Tech Talk. So thanks, Debbie. I'm glad it was interesting to you, and hopefully get those cameras out there, folks. Shoot what you don't normally shoot. Get on that Facebook group of ours and throw some stuff on the Facebook group. I'd love to see your work. Or join Flickr and just throw them there. I don't care. Throw them there and share them on the Facebook group. Man, there's so many places to put your pictures. Where do you put them all, right? Well, I don't know. I got 500 pics. I got Flickr. I got SmugMug. I have just so many different ones on my Lightroom. It's just too much. Even Shutterfly. Just so many on there. Okay, but thank you so much. I enjoy this each and every week. Take the best of care, and I'll see you back here. And until then, remember, listen. Oh, let's get this off. Keep those shutters clicking. And here we go. And keep your editors editing. And you too will be a top-notch A1. Got to get it, photographer. Have fun, guys. Get your cameras out there and shoot. I'll see you back there next Sunday. Bye for now.